just past the halfway point of the season for the Taylor men's basketball team. So I'm joined by their head coach, Josh Andrews, to look back at the season so far for he and the Trojans. Josh, you guys have been road warriors in the first 2 months plus of the year. What's it like to get through that first road heavy part of the schedule?
Yeah, we spent a lot of time away from Odell Arena. And I think with fans being reduced and not a true road atmosphere, it's probably not the same effect that it could be in a different year. But spent a lot of time away. And I think with a new team, a little bit different approach with what's going on, I don't think that's been bad. And for the most part, our guys have brought it, been aggressive and tough. And we'd like to come out on the other side of things a couple of times. But the schedule's tested us, and we're excited about what's in front of us and certainly coming back home.
One of the bright spots this season has been Jason Hubbard. He's taken his game to a whole nother level, career highs in scoring, rebounding. He's affecting both ends of the floor. You get to see him in practice every day, and obviously you have one of the best seats in the houses for games. What's been most impressive about him this season?
You know, he spent some time last spring and summer on his body, really got stronger, has had a more aggressive attack at the rim, being from running the floor and posting up, or from ripping and getting downhill and attacking people. He shoots a great free throw. He's so powerful. So I think that mentality has really helped him. I also think the way we're playing, the system, the guys we've placed around him, and the ability to put him in spots where he can attack and be aggressive has helped those stats. But we want to win with that. He's just gotten better and better every year. And I always tell you this, Rick, and tell others, he's still got a lot of room to get better. And that's a good thing and a scary thing. He's going to keep growing his game, and he's a worker. So very proud of him and what he's accomplished.
You mentioned the different offensive philosophy this year. The other guy that's really opened things up for has been CJ Pena. We've seen CJ have that inside-outside game his first 2 seasons, and it's only blossomed even more. Obviously, more touches helps that, but I think he's also been a lot more efficient in his offensive game as well, and his rebounding numbers are right there where they've been the first 2 years. Thoughts on CJ's first half of the year?
Yeah, he's so dynamic. He's so skilled. And you mentioned that, the inside-outside nature. And I think that's a mature player perspective, where knowing how to attack can vary by game, maybe by the matchup or the way that an opposing team is defending, if it's traps or really crowding the post, or they're trying to fight the three-point line. And I think CJ's maturity has continued to grow in terms of how he approaches the game, his efficiency. And I think he's only going to improve there. You know, he's had some disruptions to rhythm and gameplay here in the first 15 games. So I'd say look out for CJ to have some monster games down the stretch. And the better that CJ and Jason can draw to or draw a crowd and get guys open and guys knock down shots, you know, the better the Trojans are going to be in terms of outcomes.
They're definitely not going to sneak up on anyone, particularly now with the first half of the year that they've had collectively, as those two being your top 2 scorers and the top 2 rebounders. And what's the biggest thing for the two of them as you guys get into the second half of the season? And in more of a traditional sense, we'll be playing a team for a second time. And then like with Huntington, you'll play them for a second time just a couple days after you play them on Wednesday. But what's the big thing for the two of them to continue to keep leading the Trojans to victories here in the second half of the year?
Sure. Yeah. I got to stay healthy. Got to be hungry. Got to want more in terms of how to affect the game. I think it's both ends of the floor for those guys. We ask a lot out of them, both defensively and offensively, and seeing the big picture, seeing what my staff and I are hoping to see for our group in terms of how to blend skill sets and the different talents among our guys together. And they play a major part in that in terms of how they see the floor, their instincts, and how they make decisions. And we still need more time, and we've got more time. But as that comes together and guys knock down shots, we could really be a really high-level team. And we're very optimistic, very much have an expectant spirit about us going into these final 9 games.
You mentioned time, and sadly, 2 guys on your team that their careers are coming to a close quicker than I'm sure they would like are your 2 seniors, and Vincent Miranda and James McLeod. They've seen their production go up. You know, Vincent's knocking on the door of 1,000 career points. James continues to be the same dog defender and workhorse that he's been since he got to campus. almost 4 years ago. They've stepped into new roles, bigger roles offensive this year. What's been the most special thing about coaching them as they get closer to the end of their careers, but through this first half of the year?
Sure. Those guys epitomize what we stand for, what we want to be. Taylor basketball in action, and you and I talked about this in the preseason. But the team attitude and it being bigger than them, and having a winning work ethic, how they approach it every day, being emotionally tough. Those guys, regardless of how they're playing or what outcomes have been for our team, that you can count on them in the locker room when you're not there. That you can count on them the next day in practice. They stand for the right things. They are mature and selfless, really easy guys to be around. So we will miss them greatly when they're done. And I sure hope that they play their best basketball down the stretch here. And I think they're capable of it. I've been very proud of how they've adapted this year to what we've asked of them. They play the leadership role very authentically, because they are the type of young men that we want to represent Taylor basketball in this university.
You brought in 4 new players to the Taylor men's basketball program over the summer, and Zach Baher, Caden Furman, Grant Niehaus, and Gavin Yoon. We saw Zach have a big game at Rio Grande, knocking down a bunch of threes, and then Gavin came to life with a 20-point plus performance at Bethel a couple of weeks ago, and the other two, and Caden and Grant, have shown signs of brilliance as well. Where do you think their maturation process has been a half year through their first college basketball season here at Taylor?
Sure. No, we're proud of them. They've stayed with it. And in your first year in this league and anywhere, first time through, it's rare that it's just a consistent success, or it's just all the time, to use your phrase, that brilliance. Those guys have each done really good things. They are hard workers. They're tough dudes. Our guys love them. They've adapted to how we're playing and what we're doing. It's only going to get better. I would love to see them be more consistent, night in, night out. And I think that's what you expect. That's what you work towards as guys transition from being a freshman to a sophomore, or a sophomore to a junior. Typically this time of year, you tell a freshman that they're no longer a freshman, you're now a sophomore. And with how strange the year's been and all those things, it's a little bit unfair to be saying that, but we do want them to keep taking steps forward. We're going to be using those guys down the stretch of the year, and we need them to play at a high level, and I believe they will.
Last thing, Josh, we mentioned it off the top. You guys were road warriors for the majority of the first half of the season. Well, you're going to end with the majority of your home games here in January and February here inside Odell Arena. How much of an advantage do you think that is for the guys, knowing, okay, we put all of the road games and got on the bus and went here and went there in the first half of the year, and now you get inside the friendly confines of Odell?
Yeah, you hope being at home, you can have that same, I've talked to you about this. We're trying to find better rhythm. I think we're a rhythm team. We're playing at our best when we have a rhythm about us. And you like to think at home that that's what it does for you. You're practicing in Odell every day. And when it's a home game, your routine is pretty consistent. And I'd love to see us have great success at home and protect the home floor. We think we can. Every night will be a battle, though. And our guys just got to continue. Our mantra all year has been little by little. We just have to get a little bit better every day, and be better about preparation, be better about stemming the tide when there's a big run or we're not playing the basketball we know we're capable of, but not for lack of fight or togetherness. This group continues to grow, and I think here in Odell Arena, we're going to have success in the next month or so.
Josh, thanks for the time. Best of luck with the second half of the season.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Rick. Thank you for the coverage.
For more on Taylor men's basketball, just log on to TaylorTrojans.com.